With these guys from ISIS and with these guys that have kind of some affinity towards them and kind of promote them in some form, we can solve the problem. We can say, look, this interpretation that you have, bring it back to the early Muslims. The books of the early Muslims, what do they say about rebelling against against Muslim rulers? What do they say about declaring others to be apostates? What do they say about contracts with non-Muslims? Yeah. What do they say about people that you have a covenant with? These things they're laid out. So we can go back there. We don't need now a new kind of and this new interpretation that they, even though they claim orthodoxy the same as us, they wear these things, they have their beards, they look same as us, but their thing is closer to Marxism. I'm talking about the likes of these ISIS and these Daesh people.
For the record, I don't have an issue with that at all. That's not my issue. My issue is more looking at
the theology.
No, it's more looking at Islam and the cultural effect, and the more subtle, nuanced political.
But that's
more my interest than. I mean, terrorism is it's a horrible thing, but it's a small.
Yeah, but the thing is, when we're looking at that, I can say the same thing about any kind of group that I want to isolate and highlight.
Yes.
And then apply it widely. But then again, we shouldn't really be looking on that level.
Sorry, I didn't mean. I can say.
No, it's fine. I'll just give an example of how we can solve a dispute.
I meant the Sharia, for example, and the things about the pork or the alcohol, how that might impact the culture. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
But if we was to, I see your point.
I'm not bringing. I know everybody likes to talk about terrorism here because it's the whole.
I'm giving just a clear example of how we can settle a dispute easily.
Yeah, but I'm with you on that. I don't. To me, that's not the issue. The issue is more about the more subtle, nuanced, how the societies come together, the Islamic society, to call it that, and the secular, and how they work together, and what because we started this conversation talking about Majid Nawaz, and his seems to be his objective is to change your culture, to it fit in with
not just our culture, the actual religion.
The religion, exactly, to fit in. So I'm interested in that, but I don't. That to me doesn't seem like that's going to work.
It won't work. It won't work.
To me, it just seems like
it won't work. It won't work. It's basically
a no-brainer.
It seems like there's some sort of inferiority complex on his behalf, and he wants to kind of please the host nation or something like that. I don't know how he sees it.
Well, maybe it's just a thing that he can latch onto. I mean, I've heard that from people.
Maybe.
It might just be dare I say it, a money-making.
I've heard that as well. With regards to was it a book that he wrote that he didn't really write?
Somebody actually suggested that to me, and it made me wonder. It's just it's a bit, it's like the Tommy Robinson debates. You get lots of people that are latched onto that.
Yeah.
And there's money to be made there. It might be rebel media, or it might be different groups making money out of it. So we can't really say for certain whether his intentions are entirely honourable.
I agree with you on that one.
You see what I'm saying?
I agree with you on that one. A book, there's allegedly a book that he was meant to have written, or some kind of research that he was meant to write, but it was.
He wrote a book with Sam Harris, didn't he? The neuroscience guy.
Wasn't there something? Was it
he
him?
wrote a book with, I'm sure.
No, there was another. Maybe I'm thinking of another guy, Eddie Hussein or something like that. Maybe I'm confused. And I'm not too sure.
So, brother, let me throw you a complete spanner. What's the situation with Amjad Chowdhury? Because he's coming out. What do you think? What is going to happen?
Our call is going to be the same. So.
Are you going to try and deal with that?
So what we deal with is education.
Right.
These are the tools at our disposal.
Right.
I can't put him in prison. I can't lock him up.
Nor should you.
Exactly. So
freedom of expression.
Exactly. So what do? We combat his narrative with education. So it's funny how his narrative gets the most airplay. He gets invited to Newsnight. He gets invited.
Of all subjects, isn't it?
That is,
the
but
most
then
divisive.
Yeah, but it should be the one that's based upon the most knowledge. Now, this man was not really a knowledgeable person in any Islamic kind of circles, apart from those small few that do reach the headlines. So it does make good news and good news, and it does sell the newspapers. I do understand that. So if you're looking at it from a materialist kind of, let's make the most money we can off this, then bring Amjad Chowdhury, he's the best man for you. But if you really want to look into this sincerely and understand what is Islam really teaching, what are the true principles of Islam, go to a scholar, go to somebody who's actually well-grounded, well-established in Islamic knowledge, and see what he's saying.
But the exact same thing is true of the other side of the argument. Tommy Robinson is not the subtle, nuanced argument. He's not the counter-argument for Islam.
Yeah.
He's the worst.
He's the knee-jerk.
Yeah.
He's
the one that he's the type of person they bring. Not always him.
Yeah.
And I don't mean total disrespect to him, okay? Because he has a feeling. He's coming at this from a feeling.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I'm just saying he's not the best person to be having this conversation.
Yeah.
And nor is from your point of view, nor is
again. But it's that materialist kind of sensationalism. Let's oversimplify. Let's polarize the people. Let's galvanize them to one belief and another belief, and we're going to work with them things. Things are not black and white. There's detail. People say the devil's in the detail. No, we say the opposite. The actual truth is found in the detail. Things are not black and white. Let's take a bit of time and just to look at the detail. Okay, so what we see now with this Tommy Robinson and this Anjem Chowdhury, these are just things that galvanizing people into that polarization.
Plays into people's fear, right?
Exactly. And what I fear, and I might sound like a conspiracy theorist, but what I fear is that if you can control the extreme right and you can control the extreme left, and your opinion has to lie in between one of these two now. Yeah? There's no thinking outside the box. You're either extreme right or extreme left or something in between. What about completely outside of this box?
Well, I think, from my point of view, I'd like a non-partisan solution. In other words, you can look at the issues and say that this, say, right-wing view is good, but this left-wing view is good.
In specific instances?
Rather than just because, unlike Islam, we don't need to. We can cherry pick. With secularism,
but again, there's certain things that a right-wing person would agree with us with. Yes. Or right-wing conservative person would agree with us.
And they might be right or they might be wrong from my point of view.
And a left-wing person would agree with us. So, for example, going into Iraq and the racism that we see amongst certain people and stuff like that, that's very left-wing. We can understand that. We see that day to day. We can see how racism affects our lives. But anti-abortion, that's very right-wing conservative. We can understand that as well. So we're not saying that we're this camp or this camp. We're standing on our own basis, which is Islam. And there's some things that you would agree with and some things that we agree with. But let's go to the foundational belief. Let's go to the underpinning view of these things, which is belief in a creator. Okay, if you don't have no absolute right or wrong, it's argument ad populum. Whatever the majority decide, this is what it is. Or like basically argument ad populum. Whatever the majority decide, we're going to do. Or whatever the society is upon, the society dictates what's right or wrong. I can be my own person and stand upon my belief in my creator and say, you know what? If I'm in this society now, I don't like that thing about that society. Does that mean now you tell me to F off back to my country? No, because
the thing is, at the end of the day, if we do not have dialogue, we are going in for a bumpy ride. There's no question.
Absolutely.
We cannot just. People seem to think we can just eradicate stuff overnight. We cannot. We have to have dialogue. Now, we might come to the conclusion that we can't tolerate certain things from either side here.
Yeah, based on what though?
On some sort of moral.
There must be a foundation.
Yes,
there must be a foundation.
I'm saying we would argue that. Right?
Collectively,
we would have that conversation. And I'm saying we might end up with that situation. But if we do not have dialogue, it's going to be far, far worse. If we just go with a popular view of like hate this, hate that. I had a big long argument today about people having signs saying, some guy had a sign saying Muslim grooming gangs, for example. I had a big long argument about that. And I was trying to explain the divisive nature of saying it. It doesn't matter if it's true that every single one of these people is a Muslim. It's still a ridiculously divisive argument. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, even the stats I don't agree with that.
I'm not saying I agree with the stats. I'm saying even if the stats were absolutely 100% true, I still wouldn't support the view because it's divisive, it's popular. It's going to play on people's fears, and people are going to say, oh, this is this and this is that. You understand my point?
And it's not consistent as well. You'd have to do the same thing about Christian this or Christian that. Exactly. So no, I agree.
What the brother was saying is he was saying, but it's true as if that made it okay, and it's more subtle and more nuanced than just saying it's true, therefore I can say it.
This is absolutely the point. I agree with that. I agree with that because again, what sells the papers? Sensationalism, black and white issues.
Well, what about, for example, IQ? So people want to talk about, there's a difference in IQ between different races. Say, for example. What are you gaining from that except division? You're just causing conflict. And people are saying, but we're going to research it. We're going to find out it's true. But why? What are you going to do with this information?
Yeah, yeah.
You're just going to create conflict.
Yeah.
And people just don't. They say, but if it's true, I can say it. No, if you say it and if it's true and it's divisive, you're just being an arsehole. I'm sorry, but that's what it. You understand?
I understand.
Sorry to swear.
Yeah,
You know,
the whole IQ thing. I don't believe there's any kind of underlying inherent racial IQ that's superior or anything like that for even to make the actual argument. But let's say the statistics did show that.
Exactly.
Then I would understand your point.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, a pleasure. As always.
No, definitely.
An absolute pleasure. I'm going to try and find that video with you and Adam.
Oh, no, it's not out yet. They haven't put it out.
Put it out, man.
I don't think
Is it in the Dawah team's back catalogue?
It's in the back vault. It's in the vault.
Yeah.
This Dawah, who invented this term Dawah team? Like, there's one. We'll all go home. We do.
I assume you all have phone calls
before the park, we're all like this in a circle, like that, putting our hands.
I was talking about James tonight, and I disagree with that second word he used.
Yeah, tell Ali Dawah as well not to chat to him or something like that. Come on.
You all have dinner together.
Yeah. We do a recap.
I think it was Steve, wasn't it? Wasn't it? Somebody
Who's
called you the Dawah. Oh no, it might have been.